Thank you, Chair Thompson and Ranking Member Katko. Thank you to all our witnesses. This is an interesting discussion that we're having today, both on the cybersecurity front, and some of the questions I had have been asked and answered, so I won't ask for those to be expanded upon. But I'm in Southeast Iowa, which has both urban but a lot of rural areas. I've met with my Iowa Rural Water Association, and in fact, I'm on a Rural Water Association. Drink the tap water, cook with the tap water, and feel very secure. But it's interesting, Mr. Gaddis, and it's not a question directed at you, but I just want to underscore something that you said. And too often this happens in Congress and in state legislature as well. And you said unfunded federal mandates cause issues. So whether that's issues we've heard today about workforce, having a labor force, while in Washington, D.C., it may not be a problem having IT or cybersecurity, it certainly can be an issue in other rural areas where there are IT people, but they don't want to come out to a rural area. The cost of supplies and activities. When I've spoken with my Rural Water Association, my state Rural Water Association, you know, the regulations that they have that come down from the federal government and from EPA, even if it's the chemicals that they're measuring, what they're measuring, the amounts, which are things that they feel are unnecessary given their long history, makes it more challenging for them to do the job that they're doing and increase the requirements. So whether it's the challenge it is to workforce, the cost of supplies, the time and travel necessary to do things that they feel in their long experience and keep water clean is unnecessary. I think when we're talking about giving people training, we also need to look at what credentialing we're requiring, what education we're requiring, and are there other ways to provide training for people to do these jobs, especially in rural communities. So, Mr. O'Connell, in the United States, 91% of active drinking water systems serve communities with populations under 10,000 people, to your point. Furthermore, 60% of those serve populations of 500 or fewer. So given this fact, can you talk about how critical it is for small and rural water utilities to have proper resources and funding? And I think also, Mr. Fugate, you mentioned that, not missing the opportunity to serve our rural systems.
The system that I take care of has 360 taps. So I'm kind of familiar with what happens in small systems. We are lucky that we've had resources to provide safe water and infrastructure for wastewater. We don't have a wastewater plant. We just have we disperse water from a neighboring community that supplies us with water. I've been very active with educating our boards how crucial this is to keep up on infrastructure and putting money away for future developments and repairs. I think it's a planning thing. I think it's a training thing. I think it's educating the people that you work for, our boards. Unfortunately, in New York State, the boards in small towns and communities and villages are not required to have board training. So it's up to the water operator, the wastewater operator, to not step on too many toes and to educate those folks that really give us our orders and what to do and how to spend our money on what we have to create for the future. And that's basically a network of monies to be utilized to keep our system as great as we can possibly make it. Great is not the great word I want to use, but it's the word that came out. We are proactive in a little community that we have at 360 hookups. Are we in debt? The answer is yes. I think the infrastructure was worth it. I think they thought it was worth a long-term plan. And the training from our Rural Water Association has mitigated us not to get in trouble with our EPA or our DOH, Department of Health. If it hadn't been for those resources that we could utilize within our small community, we would probably be in trouble.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. Our local and state rural water associations have done a tremendous job. And in your testimony, you stated, and I know that my time is running out, so if you want to answer this question after the fact and submit it written, that would be great. But when small towns like mine need help in operating our water utilities, understanding new and complex federal Clean Water Act and Safe Drinking Water Act requirements, receiving that required training to maintain our licenses, and learning about the latest preparedness and resiliency practices, we call on our state Rural Water Association and ask for technical assistance. More to the point, and this also underscores what Mr. Gaddis said, would you be able to elaborate, and it's fine if you submit this in writing, I know that our time is limited, what are some of the complex federal regulations water utilities deal with every day that you all may find are overreaching and further complicate your ability to do the job of keeping our water clean and safe? And if you would submit those to us afterward, I would greatly appreciate it.